So, good morning. I am here at the Bedford Springs Resort. Been here before multiple times, but today, sorry, there's a lot of people around here. I am going to try to do the longest trail. There's several trail loops here, and the longest one is the Evitts Trail. And I haven't done that one yet, and it's been on my list of trails for a while. So hopefully I can get it done today. It's almost a 5-mile loop. It's like, I'm in the woods now. It's like 4.6 or 4.8 or something. So it's gonna take me a little longer than the other loops. Most of the other loops are like under 2 hours. So yeah, I'm anxious to see what this one is going to be like. I just pulled my map out. Evitts Creek is 4.6 miles, and the orange loop is what I will be doing, and it kind of makes a figure 8. And then if you don't want to do the whole loop, you can cut across on one of the other trails, which is what I have often done in the past. But today I'm going to try to do the whole loop if I can, and maybe even stop over here at Black Spring, because I would like to find that as well. It's a beautiful morning. It was a little foggy earlier. Most of it has burnt off. The sun coming down through the trees is just beautiful. And right up here is our first trail markings. As you can see by all the different symbols on the tree, there's like 5 different trails. I'm doing the orange triangle, so that's what I will be looking for on all these signs here today. Looks like a tree fell down, left a branch across the trail. There's a bench. Here's a bench. Somebody left their Gatorade, and what is that? A vape, looks like. And so we've got something new here I've never seen here before. Here's a sign about Davy Lewis. And right down here, you can see that little hole in the rock. If you go across the creek, that's one of Davy Lewis's caves. It's literally a crawl space to get into it. But once you're in it, it's quite large. I'm across the creek here, and I've come and looked at the entrance before, but never been brave enough to crawl through because I tend to get claustrophobic in small spaces. So yeah, all you can see is a little crawl space, but if you can make it through there, it's a huge cave and just goes on and on. So it's an interesting place to explore if you like caves, but there are so many mosquitoes around this entrance. I don't know if they're breeding there or what. So I'm gonna go back to the trail and get away from the mosquitoes. Just past Davy Lewis Cave, the trail gets a lot steeper. I know that's always hard to tell on camera, but it's literally just going straight up the side of this mountain. So there is another smaller loop trail if you don't want to do well. We're about to the top of the first hill. I don't know how many more hills there will be, but there is a bench to rest, and this part of the trail connects with the UTV trail, so you're not supposed to hike on it there. It's a fairly short section up through here. I think that it's, is the same trail. There's a big grapevine, or some kind of vine. That is massive. Like, you could sit on that and not worry about it breaking. Up here, it looks like the tree is starting to eat the trail signs, or is that a mushroom? I can't really tell. Here's another massive vine. I hear a woodpecker. We're coming up here to a crossroads. So that points back the way we came. Up there it says not a trail. Looks like a grassy, overgrown trail. Down here is says orange trail, and it has a orange marker, but then straight ahead of me is another road, and over here is another marker with an orange blaze pointing that way. There's a bench. So I decided to sit down on this bench here at this crossroads and have a little snack. My vanilla flavored honey stinger. I like the vanilla. Don't really like the salted caramel. So I also have a prime. It's orange flavored. I usually get Body Armor, but when I stopped at the gas station to get some prime, or to get some Body Armor, all they had was prime and Gatorade. So I decided to try prime. I don't like the blue ones, I know that, but this orange one is pretty good. So I started going the wrong way here at the crossroads. Let me show you. So this crossroads can be a little confusing. This is actually where the figure 8 on the orange trail crosses. So that's the way I need to go. And if you just want to do the short loop, you go right. So, or I guess it depends where you're coming from, but yeah, if you're coming from the trailhead up past David Lewis's cave, you'll come here and go right to do the shorter loop. But if you want to do the longer loop, you need to go up here. And it's kind of funny, while I was sitting there taking a break, a couple passed me. They each had one water bottle, hiking up this trail. It's a 5-mile trail, and here I am with my day pack, water bottle, you know, Gatorade, well, not Gatorade, Prime, and my snacks, and there they go with just a water bottle. Which, I mean, I could walk that far too with just a water bottle, I'm sure, but makes it more pleasant if I don't run out of water and have some snacks to fuel me along the way. And could be they don't plan to do the whole loop. I suppose they might turn around, but yeah, it's just interesting to see how different people hike. So the trail right here is interesting. Looks like it's running right beside an old ATV trail, and this is still an ATV trail also, so I'm guessing the old one got too rutted and muddy. It's pretty deep, so they must have decided to just do a reroute beside it. But yeah, up here it looks like another intersection. The trail is well marked, but it could be confusing, especially if you're trying to follow the paper map that they provide at the trailhead. Orange Trail, scenic overlook, 1 mile, hike at own risk. Oh boy, I thought the scenic overlook was on the Orange Trail, but I went to see the scenic overlook, so I guess I will take this one, even though it's very steep. It is the hardest, most difficult rated hike on the map. Most difficult of all the hikes here at Bedford Springs. So I knew that going into it, and I figured that just means there's a lot of steep uphills. But yeah, since I left the crossroads, it's just been steady uphill, and it continues as far as I can see up the hill. So if you can see the trail behind me, it goes steeply down, and if you can see the trail in front of me, it goes steeply up. And I'll be honest, my heart was not in hiking up a steep hill today, but I told myself the view will be worth the hike. I don't know what the view is like, so I don't know yet, but I told myself just put your head down and slog up this hill. So that's what I'm doing. I know it's good for me to do hard things. It's good for all of us. So just do the hard thing. The reward is always worth it. The trail is very open here on the side of this hill. If you look down there, it goes fairly steeply down, but it's wide open. And then the uphill side is the same way, fairly open. You can see up through the trees. The light right now is not the best for showing that, but I was just thinking about the thing of doing hard things, and it's a little windy, so I hope you can hear me. But you know, they've done studies where they've discovered that if you do hard things, it will help your brain grow, like new connections, and it's actually very good for your brain. I watch Kara and Nate videos on YouTube. If you like, what's the word? International travel. They're a fun couple to watch, but Nate talks about that too, where he says, if you do something outside of your comfort zone, when you're done, that thing is in your comfort zone, and then your comfort zone grows. So then you can move on to the next thing and do another hard thing or something out of your comfort zone, and your comfort zone grows again. So it's kind of the same principle. So when you're like, oh man, that's scary, or you know, that's too hard, just tell yourself it's a workout for your brain. Anyways, this trail is pretty rocky. Definitely feels more like an ATV trail than a hiking trail, but the ferns are pretty. The breeze through the trees feels so amazing. So here I am doing the hard thing, at least for me, which is hiking up this hill. I did have a gentleman pass me running, so everybody's hard thing is different, I guess. But wherever you're at, start there. So I made it to another intersection here. That one goes down. It looks like it says not a trail. And over here is 9. I've been seeing these numbers on the trees. It's painted in orange also, so I assume it's the orange trail. I'm not sure what the numbers are for. I don't remember seeing them here before, so maybe they're starting to mark the distances. I don't know, but up here's another sign that says scenic overlook, so I will keep going uphill. I can tell out through the trees there, you probably can't see, but I can tell there's a view. I just can't see it for the trees, right? So I'm assuming once I get to the top, we will be able to see over the trees. So here we are at this intersection. That one says 10, so I wonder if they're marking the mileage. Well, I was afraid I was going to have to go up there, but thankfully that is not the trail. The trail levels out just a little bit. Still uphill, but not as steep as that other one. So it's really pretty. Just right here on the side of this hill, it goes straight down, and I can see out through the trees the opposite ridge. If you can see a little bit of blue out there, that's the mountains. There's some blue wood. Well, it's kind of teal actually. My camera won't focus on it, but it looks so cool. I think we're getting closer to the top. There's not as many trees, so you can see the opposite ridge a little bit better out there. And there's some pine trees here, so the air suddenly smells amazing. And the wind has died down a little. And it's just a gorgeous section of trail. Look at these trees. Their trunks all bent from trying to grow straight on the top of this ridge. If you would fall off the edge of this trail, that's straight down. It's kind of hard to show, but it does go straight down. But the trail is wide. It's obviously meant for UTVs, so there's no problem. Wow, there is an opening in the trees here. Look at that view. That is amazing. Wow. Definitely worth the climb up here. See if I can get past some of these bushes. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is an incredible view. The grassy patch you see there in the center of the screen is the golf course for Bedford Springs Resort. So that's the way I came up. And then this is not actually the overlook. This is just beside the trail. You can see way out there. It's incredible. And then Bedford Springs Resort is down the valley, and then if you look across, straight across, if you look straight across the screen, right there where my finger is some towers. That is called Kenton's Knob, and then this whole ridge of mountain running down south from Kenton's Knob is called Will's Mountain, and it is named after an Indian named Will. And down here is a rock slide with a lot of these short little ferns. They're not the usual ones you see in the woods, like the hay-scented ferns. I believe these are called New York ferns, maybe? I'm not sure, I'll have to check again. But then the trail goes on up. So let's go up and see what the actual overlook is like. So I just walked up past some more bushes, and now I can see the town of Bedford. So if you look right there in the bottom left corner where my finger is, that is downtown Bedford. So that is pretty cool. I could look at this for a long time. So a bunch of these rocks are covered with this blackish brownish lichen. It's incredible looking. It almost looks like it's burnt. And then if you look up the hill, there's a whole bunch more of it on the rocks. It kind of looks like leaves from a distance, but it's actually lichen. So I just passed the couple that I had passed back at the intersection that were hiking with just water bottles. They said I'm almost at the overlook. They were coming back down, but they said there's a black snake up here on the trail, so hoping I get to see it. But I'm glad they warned me. Oh, I believe I see it. So it is just stretched out across the trail, and it's looking at me. If you don't know, black snakes eat rattlesnakes, so when I see a black snake, I think, well, maybe I won't see any rattlesnakes. This one's pretty small. I don't see any bulges, so it hasn't eaten anything recently. He's just watching me. He's not moving. So I will go around him, give him his space, but it's always cool to see wildlife on the trail. And I believe I see the end, the top of the mountain. I made it, and the air smells like pine. Oh, it's just lovely up here today. So it looks like this is a dead end. Oh boy. Well, at least the way back down is down. Yeah, the overlook up here is definitely not as good as from the side of the trail. I mean, there's all these rocks piled up here. I'm not sure why. Maybe when they graded the trail, they got this big open spot, which I'm guessing is for ATVs to turn around in. Looks like they just pushed the boulders here, and there's a bunch of bushes grown up, so you can't really see. I'm a little bit nervous about going out in the boulders because snakes, you know. Rattlesnakes. It's nice and sunny, so a little bit cautious about that. But even if I climb up on the boulder, I still can't really see out over the bushes. So that's the best I got from the top of this mountain. So I'm sitting on a rock. I checked all around it before I sat down to make sure there's no snakes. And then after I sat down, I saw there was some poison ivy right in front of me. So I'm gonna have to keep my pack from falling down, but I decided I was gonna eat a little bit of lunch here. So yeah, it's a nice spot to sit in the shade and have a little bit of a view. If you can kind of see back there, there's a little bit of a view. So yeah, I didn't bring anything fancy. I just brought a packet of tuna salad, which I like, and I also brought some homemade sourdough bread. So that's going to be my lunch. And then I also have a Snickers bar, which is my usual treat for hiking, especially when I'm hiking up a hill. So I'm going to sit here and eat that, drink some water, drink some Prime, and yeah, enjoy the view before I head back down. I know a lot of people prefer uphills over downhills, but I actually like downhills. So I know my legs usually kind of feel like jelly if it's a long ways, but it's still a lot more fun than uphill. So I know once I say this, people will probably tell me, well, you should use an All Trails app. And I want to say I have used All Trails, and I don't like it because it's not always accurate, and if you go on and read reviews, like some people will say, oh, this trail was the hardest trail I've ever done. Other people say, well, this was an easy trail. So if I'm on the Appalachian Trail, I just use the Far Out app. Most state parks, I just use the map that's online that you can get from the state park, that you just download it, print it. Maybe I'm old school, but I like having a paper map. Even if I have an app, I still like carrying a paper map, just because, you know, your battery dies, or even if you have it downloaded on your phone, it's just nice having a paper map. And I'm gonna say Bedford Springs does not have a very good map. So for one thing, they don't show elevation, but if you can see here, up here it says scenic overlook. What it doesn't say is that if you're on the Orange Trail, the scenic overlook is on this little black side trail up here. Maybe they just assume you know because they put the words there, but there's really no way of knowing. And another thing at that crossroads where I was a little bit confused about which way to go, that was right here. And as you can see, the orange does not overlap, so it looks like it does not cross. But if you go by the sign on the trail, it shows that it does go across there. Well, it's just, I mean, it's marked as another trail, but it doesn't show the orange, so that's very confusing. So they really need to update their map. And I will say this one is pretty old. I've had it for a while, so maybe they do have a newer map. I don't know, but I'm guessing a lot of people that aren't from this area probably talk to the staff at Bedford Springs Resort before they hike, and so the staff probably tells them, you know, how to get where, you know, probably gives them more details about the trails. But if you're coming in just to hike and you're not staying at the resort, then this is the trail map that's offered at the trailhead. And yeah, it's just not a very good map. And also, if you've never heard of the Bedford Springs trails, as you saw on the map, there's a variety of loop trails you can do, different lengths, you know, different levels of difficulty. And if you are curious and want to come, if you come to the Bedford Springs Resort, right across the road, there is a parking lot that is just for people who are hiking. So if you come just to hike, there's a parking lot there just for you to park. And that's where the trailhead is for all the trails. So you can pretty much get on any one of the trails from that spot. You go across a little bridge, and yeah, it's beautiful trails. I will tell you that you will probably be going uphill or down. The only trail that does not have a lot of elevation is the Heritage Trail. It ends there. The other end is at Old Bedford Village, which is on the other side of downtown Bedford, so you will have to walk through town. The trail goes through town. I've rested and rejuvenated, and it looks like this trail used to continue on down the side of the hill, or maybe it was a road, I don't know. Obviously it's been blocked by all these rocks. You can see the other valley on the other side of the ridge. Out there, a little bit of the blue from the opposite ridge. And I can hear somebody down in the valley using some kind of heavy machinery. I don't know if it's a mower or something else, but yeah, we're on top of this ridge, so we can kind of see both sides. That's pretty cool. And now, get to head back down the mountain. So I was just thinking as I was walking down this hill that there's a lot of medium-sized, like fist-sized rocks that are loose, and if you're not careful, you could easily twist your ankle. And then just about like that, I rolled my ankle. And the only reason I'm not hobbling down the hill with a twisted ankle right now, my trekking pole, I know some people use them and some don't, but mine were just a cheap $20 pair from Amazon, and they just proved to be worth every penny because I threw my weight on my trekking pole when my ankle rolled, or when that rock rolled under my foot. If I had not done that, I think I would have probably broken my ankle because my ankle was twisted, or my foot was twisted back pretty badly. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine and no injuries. Back here, that's the way I came up. Over here is the way I need to go to follow the orange trail. Up there is where I just came down. And now we're actually going to stick to the orange trail. I am delayed by like an hour because I didn't realize how far up there that would be. So got quite a bit of extra mileage up the mountain and back. Coming down didn't take too long. Here at V's again, the trail. Evitts Trail, Orange Trail. And it looks like I get to go back up where I just came down. So that's fun, yay. Just kidding. Yeah, I don't mind the extra mileage, but I wish I would have known ahead of time just because I like to know where I'm going. But there's always adventure in taking the little side route. So far, it's a lot more level. Looks like we're just hiking along the base of the hill where I was just climbing, so I'll take it. The woods are so pretty. Did I already say that? They're fairly open, but nice and green. It looks like almost a little green carpet on top of the leaves. So pretty. Don't see anything in there. So here it looks like we've come to an actual creek. It's pretty. The little trickle up there through the moss-covered logs. I did bring a water filter, so I guess I could get water here if I need it, but I don't really need it. Just past the creek, here's another sign up here. Let's see what it says. Solomon Filler, Bedford County's Master Architect. So the water kind of trickled down beside the trail, and now I have to cross it again. It's a pretty little ferny spot. And then the trail dries up. I thought I might have just heard some thunder, so I don't know. Will I get rained on? If it's going to rain, I will probably get rained on because I am only about halfway around the loop, so it's a good ways back. I can't really tell because I'm kind of down in the hollow and tree cover is pretty thick, and so it's hard to tell, but I can tell that the sun went behind the clouds. I just can't tell. I can't see what the cloud looks like because, yeah, over that way it looks kind of dark, but I don't know if that's just because, you know, I don't know. The clouds don't look that dark from what I can see, but I can't really see the whole cloud. So I did bring a rain poncho, but I'm actually warm enough that a little bit of rain sounds nice. My only issue with rain is that sometimes if your clothes are wet, they can chafe and then, you know, rub sore spots. So come to a little T. This little footpath comes out on an ATV trail again, and I don't see a sign anywhere. Looks like this goes up the mountain, and I'm guessing if I'd have known, I could have taken that as a shortcut down from the overlook. I'm gonna go right here because it seems like the most logical thing to do. It's downhill, and it is also in the direction that my map tells me to go. So let's go down and see what these signs have to say. So there's a number 13, and not a trail, although it looks like somebody has just driven it recently. There's pretty fresh tracks in the mud. And then here, orange trail. So here we go. I think that might have been the halfway point of the loop, but I'm not sure because, like I said before, I don't think my map's very accurate, so we will see. And also the sun has come out again, and the woods has lost that sense of foreboding that you sometimes feel when you're hiking, so maybe it was just the area of woods I was in. Here, the trees are a lot smaller. Back there, they were big old trees. Trees are smaller, and there's a lot of grass growing. Like, I don't know if you can tell, that's not ferns, that's grass. It's a little more open, so this area must have been logged at one time, and it's just regrowing, is my guess. I don't really know. Oh, here are some mushrooms right on the trail. Check that out. So it's a little more open. I've been getting the sun on me some. And here is another plaque. This is about the lost children of the Alleghenies. If you're from Pennsylvania, you probably already know the story. So we got some more mushrooms. This one's got some black around the edges. And then over here's more of the same. And there's another one down there. I'll have to look these up and see what kind they are. Well, check out this tree. Oh my goodness. What is that? It looks wrinkly. Did something happen here to the tree to make it grow like that? Is that a certain type of tree? Like what? This other little tree here has a little bit too, and there's another one down there that looks wrinkly as well. I have never seen wrinkly bark on a tree. So over here is the same kind of tree. Bark is smooth. So what makes one smooth and one wrinkly? What happened to them to make them do that? Anybody knows? Drop a comment. I'm here at a little bench and I'm looking. It looks like a little footpath down through the woods, down along the creek down there, and there's somebody hiking down there with a pack. I don't know if you can see them, but is that a parking lot? Is that where Black Springs is? I don't know. I might have to go check this out, or at least check my map. So the tree has 3 markers on it. One is almost eaten by the wood, but this little trail here, I don't know. It doesn't really, it's not marked, but I think I'm going to try it. I mean, there's obviously a trail here, and judging by the map, if it is correct, this is the way to Black Spring. So here we go. Another side venture. There may be a more official trail down to it somewhere, but this is what I've found. So I see another bench down there. It looks like all the other benches along these trails, so I'm assuming that it's part of this Bedford Springs trail system. Yeah, I see a sign up here for a spring, so here's the bench. I've been noticing these benches sometimes have nutshells on them, so I think the squirrels like to use the benches to eat their nuts. Oh, there's a sign here on this tree. Let's see what it says. Not a trail. Okay, well that would explain why it's not marked. So there must be a more official trail somewhere. But here it does say Black Spring. Okay, so up there's some steps. I wonder where that goes. And this must be the spring. This is really pretty. Yeah, it's coming out of the ground right under this. Oh, it's not a rock. It's a piece of metal or something. And then up there is the sign for Black Spring. So, this is a pretty little area. Looks like they keep it mowed. The grass is nice and the water is so clear. Look at that clear pool. I could jump in. Over there is a little reservoir with some seats. Shade or sun, take your pick. Here is the sign. The sign says they built the first steel mill in Pennsylvania right here at this spring. It says it produces 600,000 gallons of water a day. That's crazy. But this little pool here, the bottom of it looks black. Must be why it's named Black Springs, right? This is just a beautiful little spot here. There is a parking lot there, so apparently you can drive to it. It is a beautiful spot if you just want to come somewhere and sit in nature. So, don't really want to go back up the way I came down if it's not a trail. It's the Lake Spring Trail, so that must be where those steps go up. I'm going to come out here to the parking lot and see what I can see. Oh yeah, here's an orange blaze. I followed the Red Lake Trail just because I want to see Red Lake, right? And looks like there's an old bathhouse or something, and then over here is the lake. It's a nice shady spot under the trees. Looks like a bridge down here. This is really pretty. I'm gonna have to come back and bring my kids sometime. They would like to see this. And I'm actually watching a fish swimming around right here. It's pretty cool. Also hearing some frogs. And these, I just looked them up, they're called spatterdock. So that's unique. Just see something interesting. There is a little trail of, it looks like crab legs. I'm guessing crawdad legs, and they go into this hole like the little skeletons. So something is eating them and living in that hole right here on the bank of the pond. So I was gonna sit on the bank of this pond and take a little break, but one, it's in the sun, and second, there is a lot of goose droppings, duck droppings all through the grass there. So yeah, I decided I'll not sit on the ground there. I'm back here where Red Oak Lake and Black Springs signs are, and the road, or the orange trail, goes up this. So I'm glad I took that little detour down the main road to see Red Lake. Definitely worth going out of your way for. If I had taken those steps back at Black Springs, that is the lake trail, which would have taken me in a loop around the lake, which if I had looked at my map I would have known. But I don't really have time for that today. But I definitely plan to come back and do that little loop. It's not very long, but it's probably something I will bring my kids to do, because there is something about water that is good for the soul. So yeah, I just came to this little Y, and if I had just stayed on the trail instead of taking a little path through the woods, I'd come up this lane. You can almost see the bench where I turned off the road or the trail, and then down there through the woods you can almost see the spring, sign for the spring. So yeah, if you just stick to the trail like you're supposed to, it will give you the opportunity to walk to the springs and to the Red Lake. So basically what I did was take a shortcut. Here are the signs, as you can see, and I will be heading back uphill, it looks like. So I just stopped for a brief break, and I want to show you what I did back there, because I don't know if it was as confusing to you as it was to me. Part of the problem was I should have looked at the map, but because I could see the spring from the trail, I thought I knew where I was going, and I did. Like, I found my way around just fine, but I just thought I would show you on the map this around. And so what happened was, I was coming down here, and I got to about here, and I could see the spring through the trees, and there was this little unmarked trail, which was not a trail. So I just took that little cutoff over to the spring, and then I followed this down here to Red Oak Lake. So that's where I messed up. I should have just followed this down and then walked back up. And then also I could have gone this little loop as well. But I was all the way down here to where it says parking, and I came back up. And I'm about here right now, so I just have to come all the way back around here and back here to the trailhead. So hopefully that makes sense. I spotted a deer. He just spotted me about the same time I saw him. He's just standing there looking at me. He, she, I don't know. They say if you don't make eye contact, they don't spook as easily. So, but yeah, there he goes. Deer was in that little grassy patch when it saw me. I kind of wonder if there's a fawn hidden over there, possibly. I'm not going to go look and disturb it, but this is a beautiful little spot in the woods. There's the river. The trail is basically a gravel road right here. I'm guessing it's used as a service road. I don't know, but it is beautiful in here. Up here we've got another sign. Looks like this is a shagbark hickory tree. This one is about Bedford Springs and President James Buchanan. So you can pause the video to watch or to read that sign. You can do that with all the signs that, sorry, bugs. The gnats are bad. About ready to get out my bug net. Anyways, if you don't pause it to read the sign, it was about James Buchanan. And if you don't know, he used Bedford Springs Resort as his summer White House from 1857 to 1861. He spent a lot of time here. He was actually, sorry about that. I think I maybe choked on a gnat, maybe swallowed it, I'm not sure. Anyhow, so President James Buchanan was born and raised about an hour and a half east of Bedford Springs. So this was like his home territory. And he hosted politicians from the north and the south trying to stop the Civil War from happening, basically. And I think I see a deer, another deer up here on the trail. It's up there in those bushes, but I don't know if you can see it. There it goes. Anyways, the deer, I knew by the time I flipped my camera around it would be ready to run. So anyways, but back to President James Buchanan, he got the first transatlantic telegraph message in 1858, I think, right here at Bedford Springs Resort from Queen Victoria in England. So that's like a moment of history that happened right here in Bedford County. So a little bit of interesting information about Bedford Springs. It was pretty popular back in the 1800s. People came here for the water. The spring water was supposed to be the cure for a lot of things. And then over time it kind of fell into disrepair. During World War II, they used it as a training ground. They held football matches here for the Navy, I think. It said it on one of those signs. They said they had 5,000 people here at once for those matches. And so yeah, just some interesting information about Bedford Springs. It's been restored only in the last, I want to say 2005, 2006 or something. And it's becoming much more popular again. I've never stayed in it, but obviously I have been on the grounds and walked the trails. So yeah. Well, what do we have here? Looks like a deadfall. Looks like a fresh one. The leaves are still green. Looks like it just snapped off. Must have been from our recent rain and windstorm that we had. Looks like people have been walking through here, so I should be able to get through. So I'm just seeing this here beside the trail. It looks like some pieces of concrete, and there's some brick right there. So looks like this whole pile might be concrete. There's a little yeah, spot where something happened. And oh, here's a I just now see the sign. It was behind me. Grand View Point Hotel. So that's just about the hotel, shaped like a ship, that was built along Route 30 west of here. So that's not telling me what was here, but there's some more mounds back there, and it looks kind of like they might have some concrete sticking out of some of them too. So there must have been something back here at one time. So here's another little open spot, and it's beautiful, but it's definitely not just a single file trail through the woods right here. So yeah, the second half of the trail, a good bit of it is like a 2-track road. So for what it's worth, down here is another one of those, what I call sinkholes. I don't know what they actually are. Are they sinkholes, or are they places where they quarried stone out? Looks like people have been using that to dump their trash. Made it back to the first crossroads where I had stopped for a snack. Up there is the way to the lookout. That's the way I came up. And I'm going here to the left. Here's a little bench where I ate my snack. And off we go. I don't know if you can see through the ferns, but there on the opposite hill is where I was just hiking a minute ago. This is where the trail takes a pretty sharp turn. And that's a cool tree. Kind of hollow at the bottom, but it's still alive at the top. Over here is a little circle of stumps. I'm not sure what for. So here is another. This is not a sinkhole. This is more like a quarry. You can see the ground has been dug out here. I don't know what they were digging out. I should probably do a little research. And there's a very crooked tree growing out there. That looks so cool. Anyways, we're back on part of the trail that I have been on before. It's part of the shorter loop, so it's actually my favorite part is just ahead of us. This right here is so pretty. Almost 3 seasons of the year you can see ferns up here, and there is a little side trail. If you want to make a really short loop, you can come up that trail and then just go this way, but I've done that with my kids already. But this, I don't know how well you can tell, but these hay-scented ferns smell amazing, and walking through here is just, it's always the highlight of my hike through Bedford Springs. Looks like we've got a tree down there, but as you can see out through there, just ferns and ferns and ferns. I didn't realize how much that last windstorm that came through affected this area, because we weren't affected by it. So I guess that is something to keep in mind if you come up here. Look, the tree is just snapped off. And look up through here and I can see a whole bunch of leaves turning brown from trees that are down. Look, here's another one right by the trail, just snapped over. So you can see that it was kind of hollow inside, but yeah, this is sad. All these trees down up here. This tree, it pulled up out of the ground, but it didn't actually go all the way over. So the leaves are still green. That's cool. But looking over this way, there's several trees down here, down this side of the hill, and you can almost see over to the resort. That's crazy. So open in here all of a sudden. It's amazing how one thunderstorm or windstorm can change the whole side of the hill so much. The ferns are still beautiful though, and coming down this side trail takes a pretty steep hairpin corner here. I have always hiked down this side. I've never actually hiked up it, so I don't know what it'd be like to hike up. But I think it's a lot steeper than if you come up from the other way. Wow, that's crazy. You can just see that tree out there just snapped off. Down here I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stumps of trees that have been snapped off. Some of them are little, but there's a couple big ones there. It's definitely a lot more open in here. Up here is another hairpin turn on the trail. It's a good bit of gravel on this trail, so watch your step. So it looks like this tree must have been hollow inside. We got this big long piece sticking up here, and over there through the trees you can see the front entrance of Bedford Springs Resort and the water fountain, the road, the bridge, the car. Here are the trail switchbacks. You can go to the Limestone Spring that way, but I am just going to continue on straight ahead. I have another video where I go past the Limestone Spring, so if you want to see that, you can go back and look for that. If I remember, I will try to link that in the description. Well, I was hoping to see some big mushrooms, and these are huge. I mean, look at my hand in comparison. So here's a trailhead parking lot, and over here is Bedford Springs Resort.